Anything remarkable on Handler Street?
No. Nothing in particular.
Then tell us about it.
Now you come to mention it, Mr. Holmes, there's no denying there is something on my mind. It first came to my notice 4 days ago. A certain more... Yes, I thought it would please you. Though in my opinion it comes more into Dr. Watson's line than ours.
Disease?
I should say madness. Queer sort of madness, too. You wouldn't think there was anybody living nowadays, would you, who have such a hatred for Napoleon Bonaparte?
Ah, actually, there are no limits to the possibilities of monomania. You see, there is the condition that the modern French psychologists have called an idée fixe. Now, if someone became obsessed with, say, an injustice committed to an ancestor during the Napoleonic Wars, he might form an idée fixe, and under its influence, he might be capable of any fantastic outrage.
My dear Watson, that won't do.
How do you explain it, then?
I don't attempt to do so.
Maybe.
I would simply observe that there's a certain method in this gentleman's eccentric madness. I mean, for example, in Dr. Barnicott's house, where a sound might arouse the sleeping family, the bust was taken outside before being broken, whereas in his surgery, where there was less danger of alarm, it was smashed where it stood.
Well, I only mention it because you usually have a taste for all that is out of the common, no matter how trivial.
No, I dare call nothing trivial, Lestrade. Some of my most classic cases have had the least promising commencement.
Yeah, that dreadful business of the Abernethy family.
Ooh.
I hardly call the dismemberment of an entire family trivial.
Well, Watson, would you be so kind as to explain?
What? Well, the point is that it only came to Holmes's notice because of the depth to which the parsley had sunk into the butter on a hot day.
So you see, I cannot afford to smile at your three buts, Lestrade. However, I would be obliged if you would keep me informed as to developments. Hey! Watson, Harker has baited the trap for us.
What do you mean?
The press is a very valuable institution if one knows how to use it.
Read all about it. Stand it.
Very cunning, Holmes.
Thank you, Watson. Lestrade!
Mr. Holmes? Doctor?
Please, sit down.
Oh. Thank you. Well, what luck, Mr. Holmes?
We've had a very busy day. Not entirely wasted. I can trace each of the busts now from the beginning.
The busts. Well, of course, you have your own methods, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Not for me to say a word against them. But I think I've done a better day's work than you.
Milan. o'clock, gentlemen, on your feet. Come along, Lestrade. Watson, I think you've been over-generous with the port.
You're frugal enough with your information.
That will be our four-wheeler. Don't forget the revolver, Watson, and bring the rugs.
This outing wouldn't be inspired by your ID fix, would it?
E-day fix.
Yes. The plaster bust.
I have great hopes, Lestrade. In fact, the betting is exactly 2-1 that if you come with us tonight, you'll have the murderer in custody before the sun rises.
I'm not a betting man, Mr. Holmes.
Then you have nothing to lose by, do you?
Except a good night's sleep.
Watson, if you've caught a cold, it's your fault. You left the rugs behind.
Sorry, Holmes.
Is that 2 o'clock? Don't suppose we can smoke, can we?
No.
No, thought as much.
Are your men in position?
Oh, yes.
Have a humbug, Lestrade.
Watson, this is no time for humbugs. Look!
Is that who you're expecting?
His name's Beppo.
Good name for a monkey.
Now, gentlemen, if you would give me your undivided attention. Gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to one of the most precious objects in the world. The famous Black Pearl of the Borgias.
Bravo, Holmes! Bravo! Oh, your legerdemain rivals that of Masculine himself.
Oh, this surpasses it. The Borgia pearl's been missing since it disappeared from the Prince of Colonna's bedroom in the Dacre Hotel over a year ago.
As you may remember, Lestrade, I was consulted upon the case at the time. Observe and learn.
Listen to this, Holmes. Come instantly. 131 Pitt Street, Kensington, Lestrade.
What's it about?
Well, it could be anything, but I suspect it's a sequel to his story of last night. You know, my E-Day fix. Finish your coffee. There's a cab at the door. 2 minutes.